Hi everyone. I just wanted to hop on and bring you an extra reading this week. We are Wednesday the 8th of June, although this will still apply in the future. Because I've been getting some very interesting messages about abundance and energy, and how these things work for us. And I just wanted to share that with you all and also pull some cards and just take a look at this energy that's coming through. I said Wednesday would be a very intuitive day, and there's certainly a lot coming through for me right now. I've been getting these downloads, and one of them knocked me for 6, and I had to hang on to the banister so I didn't fall over on the stairs. But I'm okay, it's fine. Yeah, very, very interesting day, very intuitive day, a lot coming through. And I particularly wanted to talk about abundance because I had some realizations coming through. Obviously, the higher realms are trying to help me right now because abundance is something specifically I've been working on. And I think when we ask for the help, very often the help is given to us in the form of realizations or inspiration that comes through. You know, we may think, well, I had to find that information myself. I had to think of it myself. Yes, but you didn't do it all by yourself because you're not alone. It's okay. You know, it comes through from your higher wisdom, from your guides, because you asked to be shown that knowledge. But what I want to talk about is abundance. I mean, specifically money, because it's a very obvious indicator of certain types of abundance. You know, it's an energy of exchange that we all use, that we all have to use in this incarnation, isn't it? It's very, very difficult to get by without it. But it can also be a very useful indicator of what's going on in your life. When you look at your money situation, it can tell you a lot from sort of an energetic, vibrational level. It will tell you a lot about what's going on. And that's not to say just because you have lots of money you're a good person, or because you don't have very much you're not a good person. That's not the case at all. That would be a very grave misunderstanding of what I'm trying to say. But I think if we can look at our own financial situations with a lot of honesty, it can tell us a lot about what's going on with us on a subconscious level, on a vibrational level, and that can really provide some clues as to how we can make changes and make things better for ourselves. So I've been listening to various psychology channels on YouTube, which I very much enjoy. But a very interesting topic that I've been listening to is about people who have trauma in their past, like myself, and how very often we end up accepting crumbs in relationships. And it hit me this morning that actually maybe we also accept crumbs when it comes to our finances as well. You do very often find, I believe, that people with past trauma very often struggle with their financial situation. Very often we don't have a lot of money, or we just don't seem able to generate it or hold on to it if it shows up. And you might say it comes from a lack of self-esteem, but I wanted to go a little bit deeper into the energy that my guides wanted to show me today, which is why I've got these cards here, and I've got a few more for you as well to have a look at. I was really trying to understand this energy of, why am I only accepting crumbs for myself? Why am I only getting crumbs for myself? Why am I a vibrational match to crumbs? And something that very much occurred to me this morning is that when you grow up in a situation where you are only given crumbs of affection, crumbs of attention, perhaps even kept in poverty because you're not given very nice clothes or shoes or any money. You know, a lot of children have pocket money, but some don't, or they may only get very, very small amounts, and they may really feel unworthy because of that. You know, it can be part of a much bigger picture, you know, of emotional neglect or abuse. And you know, that is very much the theme that I'm talking about here. So this may not apply to you at all, but you know, I think it has merit. So I wanted to put this out for everyone. But very much when we're used to accepting crumbs emotionally, why would we not only be used to accepting crumbs financially? Because money is just an energy of exchange, just like love is an energy. So there's not a lot of difference there, unless there was something specific in your childhood that was different to do with money, you know. So it occurred to me, why am I accepting crumbs? Why am I only getting crumbs? And then I realized I'm not accepting crumbs, I'm seeking crumbs out. And that's quite a big aha moment. And you could apply this to your love life as well, or to friendships. Are you seeking out crumbs because that's all you think you can get? And it's an interesting conversation, the one about what you think you can get. I had this conversation with someone in the spiritual community years ago, and I was challenging them because we were talking about manifesting and abundance. And I said to them, yes, but what do you actually want, when it comes to money? How much do you want? And they went, 30 grand a year. And I said, no. I said, what do you want? Not what do you think you can get? Okay. And a lot of us are coming from this place of, what do I think I can get? Okay. And that's completely normal. We're not even doing it consciously. We're doing, what do I think I can get? We're walking in blindly like this first figure on the gambler here. And the, like it says, the shadow attribute, relying on luck rather than hard work. Well, a lot of the time it is luck. It's not to say that we're not hardworking, though, because a lot of people with trauma are extremely hardworking to the point of being an actual doormat. But what we do is we seek these situations out that are energetically a match for us, even if it's not what we truly want. I'll give an example of myself. In my younger years, I went into an industry where you were expected to work incredibly hard, very technical work, very cranial. You have to learn lots of things and you can't make any mistakes at all because there's absolute hell to pay and all kinds of regulations. But it is notoriously badly paid, incredibly poorly paid, terrible, terrible situation. And I always wanted to get out of it, but I found myself stuck because it was the thing that I could do, and it was very, very difficult. And I look back and I think, how on earth did I get myself in a situation where I was putting in all that work, all that effort, all that emotion into my job and barely being paid a living wage? Well, I was getting crumbs, and I am the common denominator here. So I put myself in that situation where I was seeking crumbs. And I think that's important to note. When we're not used to getting things, we seek crumbs because we seek other people to give things to us. And this is what we need to free ourselves from. But we literally go looking, oh, well, I'll find this job and this person, that this company will give me the money and they'll pay my bills, or the government will give me this tiny, tiny amount of money and that will pay my bills. It's like we become eternal children, I think, on some level, even if we don't realise it. There's some stunted emotion there, I believe, that makes us seek other people to give us the thing that we're lacking, because we never had that as children. Perhaps we sought that validation, that love, that affection from our parents, and we didn't get it, or we just got crumbs. So we're still seeking, we're still very much seeking, and that can play out in so many different ways in our adult lives. And it's almost like we're looking for this knight to come and save us, this white knight to come and say, oh, they'll come and save me and I'll have this job, and yeah, I'll start out lowly, but then they'll realise how wonderful I am and they'll give me all these things. That sounds like a childish fantasy. That's not reality. That's not how life works, and that's certainly not how the corporate world worked for me. I would go into situations, I'd work incredibly hard, do amazing things, sometimes even winning awards, but the thank yous were very small, or few and far between, and then it was just a case of, well, carry on doing it, but doing it faster now. There was no real reward that came from it. There was no advancement. There was no improvement in my life in a real sense. There just wasn't. And this is the pattern, I think, many of us financially, we are seeking crumbs. And we don't know we're doing it. We're seeking out crumbs. We're looking for the crumbs. We're begging the universe, asking for crumbs. And that's why we're not getting the larger amounts of money, the larger amounts of ease, the larger amounts of abundance that we could be that we could be having and enjoying in our lives, because we're still begging for crumbs, just like the little child that was begging for some crumb of attention or affection. We are still on some level begging for crumbs. So, and I wanted to bring the angel in here, quite amusing that I would pick this one. But it is, and a lot of us, we end up giving and giving and giving to other people, hoping that one day somebody will notice how much giving we've done and what good little children we've been, and they'll give something back to us. But again, that's not how it works, and people with trauma can very often become literal doormats to other people. They do far too much, give far too much, always hoping that someone will give back to them. And very often they're giving to the wrong people for various reasons, or giving in the wrong direction. And it's just, not going to be helpful, or they're giving things that people don't maybe even want or appreciate, which is a complete waste of everyone's time. So it can be very difficult, and you see this a lot in the holistic and psychic circles. A lot of people who do a lot of things, they very often, people with trauma are drawn to be healers. It's kind of Chiron energy, the wounded healer. We want to heal ourselves, but instead we externalize it and we try to heal other people. And then we end up sick, broke, feeling disappointed that people don't appreciate our efforts and what we do, and it just doesn't help. You don't heal yourself by trying to heal other people. Okay, you have to do your own inner work first. So I was asking Spirit about this, asking my guides, because they were particularly chatty this morning, and I wanted to see, what lessons we can learn, what energy we can look at today to really help us all with our abundance in our own lives. And this is the message that came through. And I do have one more card as well. And it was very much sovereignty, self-sovereignty, being your own person. Now, 12 is the number of perfect governance. Okay, so it is very much about systems, it's about control, but self-control. And what is self-control? Sovereignty, self-mastery. 12 reduces to 3 as well, which is the blueprint, the new plan. So when we have that sovereignty and we believe that we are enough, that we are okay, we don't have to seek out crumbs from other people, all of a sudden that opens us up to being able to create something new, being able to create a life, becoming the architect of our own lives and being able to sing our own song, which is ultimately what we're here to do. And it's very sad to me seeing the number of people, wonderful, incredible people that I've met in horrible dead-end jobs, doing really terrible work that most of it is completely unnecessary in the grander scheme of things, and the job doesn't really need to exist. But pouring their energy into it instead of using it to sing their own song and make the world a more beautiful place. But also the reminder coming through that there is always enough. There is never lack. We are not taking away from somebody else by having something for us. Okay, that's a zero-sum game. That's not how the universe works. There is no shortage of energy in the world. There is no shortage at all, except that which we create or that which we perceive, because other people artificially create shortages. And that's quite noticeable in the world right now. If you just scratch the surface, because we've got the Great Awakening happening, all going on right now. If you so much as scratch the surface, you will see how contrived the systems are and how lack has been manufactured in many, many different ways, in many different aspects of our lives. Right now it's happening, and you can see it in the past as well. But we couldn't see it until now, because this is the Great Awakening. This is the time where we get to see it as we move into this new energy of Aquarius. This is the time where we get to wake up and go, oh my goodness, what is that person doing? That doesn't make any sense. Why are my apples being exported to Mexico, when they're just down the road and I could eat them here, but I can't buy any of my local apples? It doesn't make any sense. Or all of this globalist web that has been built to obfuscate the truth and to make everything appear far more complicated than it actually is, when it really isn't. It's very, very simple. But I think there was a desire from the dark forces to make people believe that they were powerless, and that people that were far cleverer than them, far more important than them, far more worthy, I'm pointing to the crown here, worthy than them, should be in charge of everything, because they couldn't possibly begin to understand, when actually most of it is extremely simple and has just been excessively overcomplicated. So there is really always enough in the world. And look at this fish in its beautiful orange colour. And to me, again, that's highlighting the sacral chakra. Our sacral chakras have taken such a beating, been so ignored. And I would encourage you to give some love to your sacral chakra. That's the energy centre that sits just below the navel, right on your belly. Give it some Reiki, or, hold a nice orange crystal, or eat some actual oranges, some orange foods. That's helpful. Healthful orange foods, not like fish and chips or something. Yeah, but then we come on to the Bobcat card as well, and this one showed up in this week's weekly reading. If you haven't seen it, I'll link above. But the Bobcat is all about the great mystery, but also about eternity on that eternal 8. Yes, we can be incredibly hardworking, but we can also create things. Things don't have to stay the same. Things are always moving and changing, and the only constant is change. That is the only constant in life. Things never stay exactly the same, and it would be foolish for us to think that they should, or that we can try and make them. But that's actually very freeing. That's a very, very good thing, because all of these bad habits or bad thought patterns, unhelpful thought patterns that these programs that have been running in our head, that means that can change. They don't have to stay the same. We don't have to stay that same person. We don't have to stay in that place of struggle or difficulty or discomfort or even misery. You know, your life may be very miserable right now, or it may just be a little bit uncomfortable and you're not quite sure what to call it, but it's not quite right. But oh, maybe I shouldn't make a fuss, but maybe you should think about why you feel that way. So there is a lot of potential around, I feel, today and moving forwards. And we are on a number 8 day today as well, which is particularly interesting synchronicity there. We are on an 8. 8 can be all about hard work, exhausting yourself. In numerology, it can be about literally being on a treadmill. But 8 can also be an incredibly powerful number for finances, a very lucky number for money in itself. So it has both sides to it. So just because you're struggling now doesn't mean that you can't flip that energy on its head, heal that energy, and actually enjoy the rewards that you should be getting for your hard work in the world, and for the efforts and the wonderful things that you bring to the world as well. You can bring that energy in. We can stop asking for crumbs and start to learn how to ask for a piece of cake, or maybe a whole cake, or maybe 10 cakes, or maybe a bakery. Sky's the limit. How much do we ask for? But this is the thing, and that's what I was saying at the beginning. I'm used to asking for crumbs, and I realise that in myself. I only know how to ask for crumbs, and it never occurred to me that I should ask for more. For some reason in my psychology, I believed that it was up to the other person to decide that I deserved more. There was still that very old belief of unworthiness that was within me that I've just pinpointed today. And many, many of us have this. And we have many different layers of it. And I just peeled off this one layer of it today and went, well, I don't need that. I'm a sovereign being, which I'm always going on about on Twitter if you follow me there. I am a sovereign being. I don't need someone else to decide that I'm worth more. That's ridiculous. So today I'm just going to bring in this last card. It's beautiful. This one showed up recently as well. I think this was in the 666 reading I did with Chrissy. Let go of the old. That's very much where we are right now energetically as a human race. It is very much time to let go of the old. We're moving into this age of Aquarius, this new energy, this new era, this new time. Everything's about to change. All the parameters of our lives are about to change. And of course, there are those dark actors that are trying to hijack that and trying to implement the shadow aspects of all of the things that are coming, trying to subvert the energy, trying to point us in the wrong direction, trying to lead us astray. And we don't have to let them do that. It is interesting to watch, not going to lie. I mean, when they say things, like, oh, well, we need to change this and we need to change that. Look at the thing that it is that they're actually suggesting changes. Now, they may be onto something, but it'll be the shadow aspect that they're showing you. It'll be the dark aspect, a negative way of interpreting the message. So we can look at all of the things that governments or NGOs or people like the World Economic Forum, things that they're trying to say we should do and trying to bring in. Now, they're not coming up with those ideas out of nowhere. They know perfectly well that we're moving into the age of Aquarius. They know as well as I do. And they understand what that energy entails and what the potential of that energy is. And energy, it can be used for the negative or it can be used for a positive. It's like when you have fire. If you're working with the energy of fire, now fire can cook your dinner and it can burn your house down, or it can keep your children warm. There are very positive things you can do with fire and very negative things you can do with fire. And equally with the energy of the age of Aquarius, there are very positive things that can be done with it, and of course very negative things that can be done with that same energy. And that is where they're trying to lead us astray. That's where they're trying to take us. But when we look at the things that they're trying to lead us towards, we can see very clearly, if we didn't know, what the things are that are actually potential for this energy, so we can actually flip it and move it in a much more positive direction to make sure we don't fall into their traps. Because it would be literally falling into their traps. They need our acquiescence. They need us to agree. They can't force anything on us, which is why everything the past couple of years has actually been optional. So let go of the old. 22, 22 form. 22 is the feet of the goddess. It's a very feminine energy. It's very, very powerful. This is the goddess stepping up now. You know, this is the feminine, the divine feminine stepping up, which exists within all of us, whether you're male or female or other. It's this beautiful golden age that we're moving towards right now. None of us is going to live long enough to see the golden age unless something bizarre happens, we start living hundreds of years. But we are moving into a golden age energy, which means that generally the energy is improving. Generally things will get easier, but the right things will get easier, not the wrong things, not the harmful things. So it's going to be very interesting to see where everything goes. But maybe take a moment today and just think about where you are asking for breadcrumbs in your life, where you are not asking for enough. And we do it and we think we're being very logical when we're doing it. Oh, well, you know, I don't have a degree, so I should only be aiming for this lowly job. What? You're very intelligent. Maybe you can flip that and change it somehow, you know. And certainly for me, stepping out of the traditional workplace has been one heck of a journey. It's definitely helped me on many different levels in my own healing journey on my spiritual path. So take a look today, see where you are asking for crumbs instead of asking for what you are worth. Spend some time maybe meditating, contemplating about who you are, and remember that there is always enough. You are a beautiful divine being, a beautiful child of God, and you deserve everything that the world has to offer you. So I hope you enjoyed that reading. Please do take a moment to like, subscribe to the channel, share this video with a friend. I would love to hear your comments, what you feel about this, what your experiences are with abundance and perhaps even getting crumbs. And I will speak to you all again soon.